The sky Berkeley. The atmosphere itself was on fire, a chemical reaction triggered by the Xorathi orbital platforms. Lucas watched from the emergency bunker's observation deck as the blue of Earth's sky turned to orange, then crimson, and finally a sickening purple, the color of bruises, the color of death. Processing atmospheric conversion. 37% complete, announced the emotionless Xorathi voice over the global emergency broadcast system they'd installed just weeks after first contact. Please remain in designated safety zones. This cleans-in procedures for your benefit. Lucas's hands trembled as they gripped the railing. Around them, the other observers, scientists, military personnel, and civilian representatives, stood in horrified silence. Some wept. A few simply stared, unblinking, as humanity's atmosphere was systematically replaced with one more suitable for Xorathi physiology. "For our benefit," muttered Admiral Jones, standing beside Lucas. "The terraforming Earth while we're still on it." 3 months ago, the Xorathi had arrived in massive ships that blotted out the sun. They came bearing gifts, medical technologies that cured cancer, fusion reactors that solved the energy crisis, gravity manipulation that revolutionized transportation. Humanity had celebrated, hailing the dawn of a new era. Nobody asked why such advanced species would share their technology so freely. Nobody except Lucas. As Earth's chief xenobiologist, Lucas had been suspicious from the beginning. The Xorathi physiology, their silicon-based biology, their ammonia, breathing respiratory systems, was fundamentally incompatible with Earth. Yet they arrived without environmental suits, without protective measures of any kind. They shouldn't have been able to survive here. They couldn't for long. Their apparent generosity had been preparation. The medical technologies they shared contained nanobots that mapped human genetic structures. The fusion reactors collected data on Earth's geomagnetic field. The gravity manipulators analyzed our planet's core. All to prepare for this moment. The systematic genocide of humanity through atmospheric replacement. "We need to evacuate more people to the deep bunkers," Lucas said, voice cracking. "The conversion rate is accelerating." Admiral Jones shook her head. "The Xorathi have disabled our transportation systems. The bunkers we have are all we get. 8 million people out of 8 billion. Her voice was hollow. "That's all we could save." A scientist nearby collapsed to his knees, vomiting as the observation deck sensors reported the first wave of deaths on the surface. Billions would die in agony as their lungs burned from within, their blood able to process the new atmospheric compounds. Lucas felt something break inside. Not hope, that had died weeks ago when they discovered the Xorathi's true intentions. No, what broke was restraint. The careful, scientific attachment they had maintained throughout this nightmare. "They don't know," Lucas whispered. "Now what?" Jones asked. "About the Lazarus protocol." Jones's eyes widened. "That's theoretical. I'm pretty more." Lucas pulled a small device from their pocket, a simple metallic cylinder no larger than a pen. "We completed the final tests last month." The results were unexpected. The Lazarus protocol had been humanity's most closely guarded secret for decades. Not a weapon, not a defense system, but something far more fundamental, a way to access the dormant portions of human DNA, sections previously dismissed as junk DNA, but which Lucas's team had proven were something else entirely. Evolutionary failsafes. Adaptability triggers that had gone dormant after hundreds of thousands of years of stable environmental conditions. The ability to rapidly evolve in response to environmental threats. Not over generations, but within a single organism's lifetime. "The Xorathi chose us because they thought we were weak," Lucas said, turning the cylinder in their hands. Their scans showed a fragile species with minimal adaptation capability, but the orbital in our active genome. Jones's face was pale. "The dormant sections, almost 97% of our DNA. They saw us as we are, not as we could be." Lucas's eyes hardened. "Not as we will be." Outside, the sky had turned completely purple. Surface sensors showed oxygen levels plummeting as nitrogen and ammonia levels rose. The screams on the emergency broadcast channels had gone silent. "Too many dead already," Activate the call could kill everyone left, Jones warned. The simulations showed significant casualties from the rapid mutations alone. Doing nothing guarantees our extinction, Lucas countered. At least this way, some might adapt. Some might survive. They looked at the cylinder again. Some might fight back. The decision was made. Lucas moved to the environmental control panel and inserted the cylinder into a port. The system recognized the device immediately. It had been designed for precisely this moment, this unthinkable last resort. Initiating last protocol, Lucas announced, voice steady despite the tears streaming down their face. Distribution through remaining atmospheric processors and water supply systems. On the screens around the observation deck, microscopic machines deployed from the cylinder began their work, spreading through the bunker's environmental systems. Within hours, they would reach every human survivor, activating dormant genetic potential that had lain sleeping in human DNA since before recorded history. Lucas turned to face the viewport once more, watching the burning sky that heralded humanity's darkest hour. But within that darkness, a spark of defiance ignited. They think they're changing our world to suit them, Lucas said, voice growing stronger. They have no idea that we're about to change ourselves. And when we're done evolving, this world won't belong to the Xorathi. It will belong to humanity again. As the first survivors elsewhere in the bunker began to scream. The beginning of their transformation. Lucas stood resolute, fondly understanding why they had always felt different, always sensed possibilities others couldn't see. Humanity had been evolving toward this moment all along. Not become extinct today, Lucas whispered as the first changes began within their own body, a burning sensation spreading through their veins. We're going to war. Pain woke Lucas first. A deep, Xorathi, as if every molecule in their body was being rewritten. Then came awareness, sharper than before. The bunker's recycled air carried 1,000 distinct scents, antiseptic, fear, blood, and something new. Something changing. 3 days had passed since the activation of the Lazarus Protocol. 3 days of screams echoing through the bunker as survivors underwent the transformation. Not everyone survived. The observation deck, once filled with greatest minds, now held only 7 people. 7 people, but no longer entirely human. Admiral Jones helped Lucas to their feet. Her eyes had changed. The irises now ringed with gold. Pupils vertical like a cat's. The others are waiting, she said. Her voice carried undertones Lucas could feel rather than hear. They made their way to the command center, passing corridors filled with the transformed. Some showed subtle changes, altered eye colors, slightly different proportions. Others had undergone more dramatic evolutions, skin hardened into natural armor, muscles denser, senses heightened. A few had developed structures no human had possessed before. Glands that produced new chemicals, organs that processed the poisoned atmosphere. In the command center, Dr. Reyes hunched over a microscope. His fingers had elongated, the skin between them forming translucent webbing that pulsed with bioluminescence when he gestured. The Xorathi missed something fundamental about us, he explained without looking up. They evolved on a stable world with a single star and no natural predators. Their DNA is efficient, streamlined, no redundancies. He tapped a display, showing human exotic genetic material acquired from their early diplomatic exchanges. But Earth, multiple extinction events, ice ages, solar radiation, predators everywhere. Our DNA kept everything, every adaptation, every survival mechanism just dormant. How many survived the protocol? Lucas asked. A new voice answered. Major Danvers, formerly head of security, now sporting reinforced bone ridges across her knuckles and forehead. 6 million of 8. Her tone was matter of fact. Mostly children. Their cells adapted faster. Lucas absorbed this. 2 million dead by their hand, billions by the Xorathi. The weight of it would have crushed them before. Now, we need to move quickly, Lucas said. What resources do we have? Jones activated the holographic display. 8 deep bunkers worldwide, all in communication. The Xorathi think we're hiding, dying slowly. They've established atmospheric conversion stations at strategic points. She highlighted 20 locations across the globe. Their Central Command ship remains in orbit. A young technician, Zhang, his skin now mottled with photosynthetic patches, spoke up. I've been monitoring their communications. They're celebrating. They think this was bloodless. Efficient. They're calling it a merciful conquest. Lucas felt a cold rage building. They need to learn otherwise. The first strike team assembled in what had once been Beijing's underground research facility. 50 transformed humans, each with unique adaptations suited for the mission. Among them was Amani, a former Olympic swimmer whose lungs had evolved to process both oxygen and the new ammonia-rich atmosphere. We've confirmed the target, she reported to Lucas over the secure channel. Atmospheric Conversion Station 3. Light security. They're not expecting resistance. Lucas and Jones watched from the command center as helmet cameras showed the team approaching through service tunnels. The Xorathi had built their station on the ruins of Tiananmen Square. A human history now being overwritten. Remember, Lucas transmitted. We need samples of their tech. And we need them to know we're fighting back. The assault was swift. The transformed hewned with impossible speed and coordination. 2 team members with evolved muscles tore through reinforced doors. Others with heightened reflexes disabled alien security systems. Amani herself, able to hold her breath nearly 30 minutes, swam through a coolant reservoir to bypass the main defenses. Xorathi workers fled in confusion. Their species had evolved for cooperation, not combat. Their security forces put up more resistance, firing energy weapons that left scorch marks on walls and floors. But the team adapted. Literally. Lucas watched in astonishment as one soldier, hit directly in the chest, fell back. Then rose again, her skin rapidly developing a reflective layer that dispersed the energy. By the third shot, it barely affected her. Within 20 minutes, the station was secured. Amani's voice came through, breathless but triumphant. To acquire Lucas. These conversion systems, they're not just changing the atmosphere. They're extracting something from our original air. Something they need. Bring everything. Lucas ordered. Leave our message. The team placed the device. A simple holographic projector displaying human DNA unwinding, then reconfiguring, before detonating charges that destroyed the station's core processors. In orbit, Supreme Terraformer watched the explosion bloom across their display. A subordinate approached, limb body contorted in the Xorathi gesture of confusion. Impossible. The subordinate chittered. Our scans show all large mammals eliminated in that sector. Xorathi studied the footage recovered moments before the facility went offline. The bipedal creatures like humans, but displayed capabilities far beyond their known parameters. One breathed the new atmosphere. Another repelled energy weapons. A third moved with impossible speed, or play biological scans Xorathi commanded. The data streamed across their sensory membranes. Human DNA, but changed. Adapted. Active genetic sequences where there should be none. The access their evolutionary potential. Xorathi realized, a ripple of concern disturbing their normally placid thought patterns. Fascinating and concerning. Should we alter the conquest protocol? The subordinate asked. Xorathi considered. Their species had conquered 12 worlds, replaced 8 indigenous populations. Never had they encountered this level of adaptation. But their technological superiority remained overwhelming. These are merely animals fighting extinction, nothing more. No. Xorathi decided. Deploy hunter units to the remaining bunker locations. Increase atmospheric conversion speed. They've shown themselves clever pets. Now they will learn who's master. Back in the command center, Jones reported similar successes from 3 other strike teams. Atmospheric conversion stations destroyed in what had been London, Johannesburg, and Mexico City. Valuable technology and data recovered. They're sending hunter units. Lucas told the assembled leaders, their enhanced senses having intercepted and decoded Xorathi transmissions. They know we're fighting back. Dark. Rays looked up from the alien technology they'd captured. I've identified how their atmospheric processors work. Given time, I can reverse engineer them. Major Danvers flexed her reinforced hands. The teams report their abilities are still evolving. Each encounter with Xorathi technology triggers new adaptations. Lucas nodded, feeling changes continuing within their own body. Neural pathways restructuring, senses sharpening. The Lazarus protocol wasn't finished. It was just beginning. We have 7 days before their hunter units reach the first bunker, Lucas announced. 7 days to prepare our defense. 7 days to perfect our offense. Jones's cat-like eyes gleamed in the low light. And then, Lucas's gaze turned upward, toward the ceiling, toward the stolen sky, toward the Xorathi command ship. Then we take back our world. And we show them exactly what they awakened when they came to Earth. Around the room, transformed humans nodded, their altered bodies evidence of a simple truth. What doesn't kill humanity makes it evolve. And evolution, once unleashed, cannot be contained. The hunter units arrived sooner than expected, 6 days after the first strike. Not 7. The Xorathi forces descended on what remained of Los Angeles, their biomechanical bodies designed for Earth's new atmosphere. Lucas watched the tackle display from the command bunker as the first wave targeted the concealed entrance to Bunker 5. They adapted their detection systems. Admiral Jones observed, her altered eyes narrowing. They're tracking our biochemical signatures now. Lucas nodded grimly. Warn the other bunkers. Los Angeles will hold as long as possible, but we need to accelerate the plan. The plan had evolved alongside humanity itself. Dar. Raz and his teamers engineered the captured atmospheric processors, developing devices that could create localized pockets of breathable air. Major Danvers had organized the transformed humans into combat units, each exploiting unique adaptations. Lucas had focused on the ultimate goal, disabling the Xorathi command ship. Los Angeles is engaging, Jones reported, activating the live feed. On the screen, transformed buttons erupted from hidden exits as the hunter units breached the main entrance. The battle unfolded with savage intensity. Hunter units moved with mechanical precision. Their energy buttoned down the first wave of defenders. But the humans fought back with abilities no training manual could prepare for. A woman with chitinous plates covering her skin absorbed direct hits, closing distance to tear apart a hunter unit with bare hands. Twins with accelerated neural processing moved in perfect synchronization, anticipating attacks before they came. A man whose lungs both atmospheres released a chemical spray that corroded alien metal on contact. For 30 minutes, the battle swung back and forth. The humans adapted continuously. Evolution occurred in real time as their bodies responded to new threats. But the hunter units had numbers and technology. One by one, the defenders fell. We're losing Los Angeles, Jones said quietly. Lucas's hands tightened on the console. Order the final protocol. Jones hesitated only briefly before transmitting the command. On screen, the remaining defenders retreated deeper into the bunker. The hunter units followed, sensing victory. Then the entire complex erupted as fusion reactors overloaded, taking 200 hunter units and the last 300 Los Angeles survivors with it. Lucas felt each death like a physical blow. Was Commander Park able to transmit the data? Jones nodded, face grim. Full scan of hunter unit communications and control systems. The sacrifice wasn't in vain. Across the command center, faces showed a mix of grief and determination. 2,000 dead in the battle for Los Angeles. The first major confrontation, and humanity had lost. But the war was just beginning. Supreme Terraformer Axif reviewed the battle data with growing concern. The Los Angeles assault had succeeded, but at a cost, 200 hunter units destroyed, and the humans had fought with unexpected ferocity and ability. Their adaptations are accelerating, reported the chief biologist. The genetic samples recovered show structural changes occurring within hours, not generations. End the atmospheric conversion, Xorathi demanded. 87% complete, but we've detected anomalies. Pockets where the old atmosphere is being artificially maintained. Xorathi processed this information through their multiple neural clusters. The humans are more resourceful than anticipated. Deploy the remaining hunter units to all detected bunker locations simultaneously. We will overwhelm them before they can adapt further. As the orders transmitted, Xorathi moved to the observation deck, gazing down at the transformed planet. The purple haze of the new atmosphere obscured much of the surface, but occasional flashes of light betrayed ongoing resistance. For the first time since the conquest began, Xorathi felt the unfamiliar sensation of doubt. Lucas felt the bunker shake as the first hunter units attacked their Jakarta location. After Los Angeles, the Xorathi had changed tactics, striking all remaining bunkers simultaneously instead of hunting them one by one. Status report, Lucas demanded, strapping into the neural interface chair that Dr. Reyes had modified with salvaged Xorathi technology. Hunter units breaching Lima and Cairo, Jones reported. Jakarta holding so far. Moscow engaging. Sydney under heavy assault. Major Danvers approached, her evolved form now substantially different from her original human appearance. Runforce bunchers protected vital organs, and her neural system had developed secondary pathways. The extraction teams are in position, she reported. Waiting for your signal? Lucas nodded, taking a deep breath before activating the neural interface. Pain lanced through their skull as the connection established, linking their consciousness to the communication network, spanning all remaining bunkers. This was the true purpose of the Lazarus Protocol. Not just physical evolution, but neural adaptation, allowing transformed humans to link minds across vast distances. AL units. Lucas broadcast through the network, their thoughts reaching every evolved human simultaneously. Execute Operation Ascension. Across the globe, the battle for Earth escalated. In Jakarta, Major Danvers led a frontal assault against the hunter units. Drawing their evacuation teams moved survivors to secondary locations. In Moscow, transformed humans with cold-adapted physiologies used the frigid ruins to ambush Xorathi forces. In Sydney, defenders used the partially flooded bunker to their advantage, evolved swimmers striking from below. Through the neural link, Lucas coordinated it all, receiving and ending tactical data faster than any conventional communication system. But the strain was immense. Blood trickled from their nose as the neural load increased. You need to disconnect, Jones urged. Nardo Lucas' vital signs. Your brain is reaching capacity. Not yet, Lucas gasped. The extraction teams need guidance. While the battles raged at the bunkers, smaller teams executed the most crucial part of the plan. Using the distraction, they infiltrated the atmospheric conversion stations that remained operational. The reverse-engineered technology developed by Dr. Reyes wasn't just creating breathable air pockets. It was preparing for something much bigger. Through the neural link, Lucas felt the moment when the Cairo bunker fell, hundreds of minds suddenly silenced. Lima followed shortly after. The pain, but Lucas channeled it, using the loss to focus. Jakarta perimeter breached. Danvers reported, her voice steady despite the sounds of combat in the background. We're falling back to secondary positions. Lucas's vision blurred as the neural load threatened to overwhelm them. The Xorathi were winning. Despite humanity's evolution, despite their adaptation, the Eda's technological advantage was too great. One by one, the bunkers were falling. The extraction teams. Lucas managed through gritted teeth. Status. Jones checked the encrypted channel. 7 of 12 reporting success. 3 failed. 2 accounted for. Not enough. They needed at least 8 successful extractions for the plan to work. Lucas pushed deeper into the neural network, reaching for the minds of the remaining teams, trying to guide them through Xorathi defenses. Then their hearts stopped. For 8.3 seconds, Lucas was clinically dead. The neural interface, sensing the failure, initiated its emergency protocol, sending a massive surge of energy through Lucas's evolved nervous system. Their heart restarted with a violent contraction, and something else awakened. Lucas's eyes snapped open, now glowing with bioluminescence. The neural capacity had doubled, then tripled, new pathways forming in response to the crisis. Through the enhanced connection, they reached not just the transformed humans, but into the Xorathi communication network itself. They're in our systems, came the alarmed report from the Xorathi command ship. Isolate all. The transmission cut off as Lucas established control, their mind flowing through alien circuits, understanding alien code as if born to it. They redirected HUM units, turning them against each other. They accessed atmospheric controls, creating corridors of breathable air for the extraction teams. 10th Extraction Team reporting success, Jones announced. Her voice instant through Lucas's expanded awareness. That's 8 total. Signal the Moscow team, Lucas said, their voice resonating oddly. Execute the final phase. In Moscow Dar. Rise activated built from stolen Xorathi technology. It sent a precisely calibrated pulse through the planet's magnetic field, connecting all 8 extraction points simultaneously. The atmospheric conversion stations, infiltrated and reprogrammed, reversed their function. In orbit, alarms blared across the Xorathi command ship as atmospheric readings showed impossible changes. The purple haze began to recede in expanding circles around each conversion station, the original atmosphere reasserting itself. Xorathi rushed to the command center, multiple limbs gesturing in agitation. What is humans? A technician reported. They've hacked our atmospheric systems. They're reversing the conversion. Impossible. Shut down all stations immediately. We can't. They've locked us out. Sir, we're detecting energy buildup in Earth's magnetosphere. Something's coming. Xorathi felt fear for the first time in their long existence. Launch the reserve hunter units. Destroy those stations at any cost. Back in Jakarta, Lucas collapsed. Their enhanced consciousness returned to their body. The neural connection had taken a devastating toll. Internal hemorrhaging threatened vital organs. But their eyes remained clear as they looked at Jones. Wit stunned. The atmospheric reversal has begun. Jones helped them to a chair, concern evident in her expression. The Xorathi will counterattack. They're launching everything they have. Lucas nodded weakly. I know. But they don't understand what's really happening. A smile touched their lips, the first since the invasion began. The atmospheric processors weren't just changing the air. They were extracting something Xorathi need. Understanding dawned on Jones's face. A component they can't synthesize. Exactly, and now we control it. Lucas's eyes drifted to the ceiling. But we need to get to the command ship. That's where outside, the sound of combat intensified as the Jakarta defenders fought with renewed vigor, buying time for the atmospheric reversal to spread. Lucas struggled to stand. They were already attempting to repair the damage from the neural overload. We have one chance, they said, voice stronger now. One chance to take the fight directly to them. Above them. Through kilometers of rock and the purple haze of the dying atmosphere, the Xorathi command ship hung in orbit. Unaware that its greatest threat was not the battles below, but what was about to rise up to meet it. Ascension was not a metaphor, it was a plan. As the Xorathi command ship deployed its remaining hunter units to destroy the atmospheric processors, Lucas and a strike team evolved humanly. 7 humans prepared to board the shuttle they had modified with captured alien technology. Their target, the massive vessel hanging in low Earth orbit. Neural link established. Reported Dr. Ras would arrive from Moscow with the prototype. His body had evolved further, his skin now translucent in patches, revealing intricate new organs that processed information as much as oxygen. Orme bunkers connected. Lucas nodded, still recovering from their near-death experience. The neural evolution had left them changed. Synaptic pathways restructured, brain capacity expanded. They could perceive the entire battlefield at once, from Sydney to Jakarta to the remnants of Moscow. The atmospheric reversal has reached 30% global coverage. Jones reported, studying the tactical display. Thunder forces are in disarray. And their command ship? Lucas asked. Shields at maximum. They're recalling all surviving units. Jones hesitated. They've also activated something new. Energy readings we haven't seen before. Lucas closed their eyes, extending their consciousness through the enhanced neural network. They could sense the Xorathi communications, the frantic orders being issued. They're preparing their final option. We need to move now. The shuttle bay doors opened to reveal the purple haze sky. Jakarta was burning, Hunter units still battling the rear guard led by Major Danvers. But now the humans were winning, their evolved forms adapting faster than the Xorathi could develop countermeasures. Shuttle launch in 3 minutes, announced the pilot, a woman whose neurosystem had evolved to interface directly with machinery. Strike team members board now. Lucas took a final look at Admiral Jones. Hold the ground. Whatever happens up there, complete the atmospheric reversal. Jones clasped Lucas's arm, her altered eyes meeting theirs. Make them pay. The shuttle rose through the burning atmosphere, its modified engines straining against Earth's gravity. Through the viewport, Lucas watched the purple haze thin as they ascended, giving way to the speckled blackness of space. The command ship grew from a distant point to an overwhelming presence. A massive disk ringed with weapon arrays and docking bays. Thief detected us, the pilot reported. Defensive systems activating. Energy beams lanced out from the command ship, but the shuttle's enhanced shields, derived from the same technology as the atmospheric processors, absorbed the attacks. The pilot executed a series of evasive maneuvers, using the ship's bulk against it, staying in blind spots between weapon arrays. Approaching docking bay 7, she announced. Transmitting the access codes now. The codes, extracted by Lucas during their neural intrusion, worked. The bay doors hesitated. Then Slip alarmed the shuttle to slip inside before emergency protocols could override the command. Prepare for hard landing, the pilot warned as Xorathi security forces converged on the bay. She didn't slow the shuttle, instead ramming directly into the gathered aliens. The impact threw the strike team forward against their restraints. Move out, ordered Lucas as the shuttle's ramp descended. Secure the perimeter. The strike team emerged fighting. Each member had been selective for specific evolutionary advantages: enhanced strength, reflexive adaptation, neural hacking capabilities, even limited energy manipulation in some cases. They cut the Xorathi security forces with ruthless efficiency. Lucas led a smaller group toward the central corridor. Engineering section is our primary target. We need to disable their drive systems before they can relocate. As they fought their way deeper into the ship, Lucas began to understand its layout through captured, neural impressions from the Xorathi they encountered. The vessel wasn't just a command center. It was a world ship designed to sustain the entire Xorathi leadership through the lengthy process of planetary conversion. They've done this before. Lucas realized aloud. Manikai, reporting engineering, reported a team member whose eyes had evolved to see through solid matter to a limited degree. Heavy resistance ahead. The battle for engineering was brutal. The Xorathi had concentrated their forces there, aware of the humans' likely target. Energy weapons fired in continuous streams, forcing the strike team to use the ship's architecture for cover. Looped out through their enhanced neural connection, interfacing with the ship's systems where possible. Doors sealed unexpectedly, trapping Xorathi reinforcements. Environmental controls malfunctioned, disorienting the defenders. But the cost was high. 3 team members fell in the first assault wave. 2 more collapsed when a Xorathi commander deployed a neural disruptor that overwhelmed their evolved senses. We need a new approach, Lucas decided, owing the team back to defensible position. Through their neural link, they sensed a change in the ship's energy distribution. They're diverting power to the main weapon system. Whatever they're planning, it's happening now. A team member with enhanced sensory perception pressed her hand against a wall panel. There's a maintenance shaft here. It leads directly to the central core. Too small for most of us, Lucas noted. Not for me, she replied. Her body had evolved differently, bones and organs arranging to emphasize flexibility over durability. I can place the charges. Lucas hesitated. The charges, developed from the same technology as the atmospheric processors, were designed to disrupt the ship's power core. But reaching the core meant certain death, even for an evolved human. There's no other way, she insisted. Every minute we delay, more die below. Lucas nodded grimly, handing her the charges. The rest of us will create a diversion. As she slipped into the maintenance shaft, Lucas led the remaining team members in a frontal assault on the engineering bay doors. The Xorathi, expecting subterfuge, were unprepared for direct confrontation. The humans broke through the first defensive line, then the second. Meanwhile on the bridge, Supreme Terraformer Xorathi received the damage reports with increasing alarm. The planetary defense weapon is at 70% charge, reported a subordinate. We require another 12 minutes to reach firing capacity. We don't have 12 minutes, Xorathi replied. The humans have breached engineering. Activate it now. At this charge level, it will only affect 60% of the planet's surface. That will be sufficient. The surviving humans can be hunted down individually. Execute the command. Below them, in engineering, Lucas sensed the power surge through their neural connection. They are activating their weapon, they shouted to the team. Status on the charges. No response came through the link. Lucas feared the worst until a series of explosions rocked the ship's core. Emergency containment fields activated, but not quickly enough. The weapon charge destabilized, energy bleeding back into the propulsion systems. All teams, fall back to extraction point, Lucas ordered as the ship's gravity fluctuated. The core is destabilizing. But before they could retreat, a massive security door sealed, cutting Lucas off from the rest of the team. They were trapped in the central corridor. And they weren't alone. Supreme Terraformer Xorathi stood before them, multi-limbed body encased in a mechanized exoskeleton that enhanced its already considerable strength. Its sensor membranes pulse with rage. It chittered in the Xorathi language, which Lucas now understood through absorbed neural patterns. You have destroyed centuries of careful planning. You tried to exterminate my species. Lucas replied in the same language. What did you expect? Extinction. It is the natural order. The strong replace the weak. Xorathi's limbs flexed within the exoskeleton. Your world is the 12th we have converted. Your species would have been the 8th we replaced. Lucas circled cautiously, their evolved body preparing for combat. Why? There are countless habitable worlds. Not for us. Xorathi's voice carried something like desperation now. Our homeworld is dying. Our star expanding. We need ammonia-rich atmospheres to survive, and such worlds are rare. We have searched for millennia. So you simply take what you need and exterminate whoever is in your way. It is efficient. It is survival. Xorathi powered up, weapons systems targeting Lucas. And, despite your interference, we will survive. This ship contains the essence of our species. Genetic material, cultural records, everything needed to rebuild. Even if this world is lost to us, we will find another. But Lucas realized with sudden clarity what the Xorathi leader was saying. The ship wasn't just a command center. It was an ark. The destabilized core will destroy this vessel in minutes, Lucas warned. Your people will die. Yes. But the ark section can separate. It is already preparing for launch. Xorathi's sensory membranes pulsed with what Lucas recognized as the Xorathi equivalent of a smile. War conquest of your world has failed. But we will find another world, another species less adaptable. The moral choice crystallized in Lucas's mind with terrible clarity. The ship's core was destabilizing, but the ark section, containing thousands of Xorathi civilians, their entire cultural history, the essence of their species, could escape. To complete their victory, Lucas would need to prevent that launch, dooming an entire civilization to extinction. Just as the Xorathi had attempted to do to humanity. Before Lucas could decide, Xorathi attacked, the skeleton moving with impossible speed. Energy blasts tore through the corridor as Lucas dodged, their evolved reflexes barely sufficient. They rolled behind a structural support, mind racing. Through their neural link, they could sense the arc section powering up, preparing to separate. Your species surprised us, Xorathi called out. Such potential, hidden beneath apparent weakness. A pity it must end here. It doesn't have to. Lucas replied, an idea forming. A third option beyond mutual destruction. There are other worlds, other ones. None suitable for our needs within reach before our Ark's resources run out. Xorathi advanced, weapons charging. Surrender now, and I will make your death painless. Lucas emerged from cover. Their evolved body adapted further during the brief battle. Energy-dispersing cells now covered their skin, neural pathways accelerated to process information at superhuman speeds. You're wrong about one thing, Lucas said, orbiting to Xorathi with newfound confidence. This doesn't end here. As they closed on the Xorathi leader, the ship shuddered violently. The core containment was failing faster than expected. Through the neural link, Lucas sensed the Ark section beginning its separation sequence. They had seconds to decide the fate of two species. And in that moment, as Lucas faced Xorathi amid the disintegrating ship, something unexpected happened. Their enhanced neural system detected a signal, faint but distinct, coming not from Earth, not from the Xorathi ship, but from deep space. A third presence had been watching. And now, it was making itself known. The signal pulsed through Lucas's enhanced neural network like a beacon, distinct from both human and Xorathi patterns. As the command ship shuddered around them, structural integrity failing, Lucas made their decision. Not revenge. Not destruction, something else entirely. Your Ark will launch, Lucas told Xorathi, their voice steady despite the chaos. But not with you in command. Before Xorathi could respond, Lucas closed the distance between them. Neural tendrils, a new adaptation manifesting in real time, extending from their fingertips. They plunged these ethereal connections into Xorathi's sensory membranes, establishing a direct neural bridge between evolved human and Xorathi commander. Xorathi screamed, a high-pitched chittering that reverberated through the collapsing corridor. The exoskeleton's weapon systems targeted Lucas, point blank, but didn't fire. The raw connection had paralyzed the Xorathi's control. What are you doing? Xorathi demanded, terror evident in its vibrating membranes. Showing what you refuse to see, Lucas answered, pushing their consciousness through the connection. The neural bridge became a flood. Memories, emotions, perspectives rushing between species. Lucas felt the weight of millennia press upon them, the slow death of the Xorathi homeworld, the desperate search for new habitats, the cold calculation that justified genocide as necessity. They felt Xorathi's pride, the burden of responsibility for an entire species' survival. The fear of extinction that drove every decision. An Xothian's humanity, the pain of loss, the defiance against overwhelming odds, the capacity for growth and change that the Xorathi had never possessed. Most importantly, Xorathi felt what the Xorathi could not. Empathy. Motor whispered, multiple limbs trembling. Such connection between species. This is what you missed about us, Lucas said, maintaining the bridge despite the agony it caused. Not just our ability to adapt physically. Help understand. To change not just our bodies, but our minds. Through the expanded neural network, Lucas simultaneously reached out to the mysterious signal originating from deep space. As they made contact, their consciousness expanded exponentially, stretching beyond the ship, beyond Earth's orbit, into the void between stars. And they understood. We are not alone, Lucas gasped, the revelation overwhelming their evolved senses. Neither of our species. The third presence resolved in Lucas's mind, not a species, but a collective. A network of evolved consciousnesses spanning dozens of worlds, linked across vast distances. Watching. Waiting. Observing the click between human and Xorathi with ancient patience. We have been monitoring your evolutionary potential, came the thought, not in words but in pure concepts, that Lucas's enhanced mind could barely comprehend. Both of you. Lucas echoed aloud, confusing Xorathi, who couldn't perceive the contact. The Xorathi path of physical stability and technological advancement. The human path of adaptation and neural evolution. Both of merit, both have limitations. Together, Lucas understood the implication immediately. A synthesis. The ship lurched violently. Through their neural connection to the vessel's systems, Lucas sensed that they had seconds before total structural failure. The Ark, Lucas said to Xorathi, maintaining their neural bridge. It contains your genetic database, yes. the foundation for your entire species. Xorathi managed a weak affirmative gesture, still overwhelmed by the neural connection. Then we rewrite it, Lucas declared. Not to destroy your people, but to save them. Do they lack the ability to adapt, to evolve, to connect as we do? Impossible, Xorathi protested. Our genetic structure is fixed, stable. So was ours. Until necessity awakened what was dormant. Lucas pressed their advantage, channeling the knowledge gained from the collective consciousness. Your species chose stability over adaptability millennia ago. That choice can be undone. Through their neural connection to the ship, Lucas accessed the Ark's genetic repository. The data patterns were complex but comprehensible to their evolved mind. With the collective consciousness guiding them, they began to rewrite, not erasing Xorathi identity, but unlocking potential long suppressed, just as the Lazarus Protocol had done for humanity. What are you doing to my people? Xorathi demanded, sensing the changes rippling through the Ark's systems. Giving them a choice, Lucas answered. A chance to be more than conquerors, more than refugees. Their eyes met Xorathi's sensory membranes. The chance to join something greater than either of our species alone. The collective consciousness pulsed approval through their connection. The synthesis begins. Bridges require permanent connection between evolved human and evolved Xorathi consciousness. Lucas understood the price immediately. I'll stay on the Ark. With the last of their strength, Lucas dragged Xorathi toward the Ark section's access corridor. The neural bridge between them had become permanent, irreversible. Their minds partially merged. Neither fully human nor fully Xorathi. The separation sequence is automatic, Xorathi said, no longer resisting, but once launched we cannot return to Earth. I know, Lucas replied. Earth has its protectors now. They don't need me anymore. Through their neural link, Lucas sent a final message to Admiral Jones and the others fighting below. The Xorathi threat was neutralized, the weapon disabled, the invasion over. Earth would recover. Humanity would thrive with its newly awakened potential. Lucas didn't share was the greater truth. The existence of the collective, the opportunity it presented, the sacrifice required. As they reached the Ark section, emergency bulkheads sealed behind them. The separation sequence initiated, detaching the Ark from the dying command ship. Through viewports, Lucas watched the main vessel break apart, energy cascading from its destabilized core. Your people will see this as defeat, Xorathi observed, the neural bridge allowing it to sense Lucas's thoughts. Today's victory, tomorrow's defeat. It doesn't matter, Lucas replied. What matters is what comes next. The Ark accelerated away from Earth, its systems reconfigured with the collective's guidance. On board, thousands suspended animation, remained unaware that their genetic code was being subtly rewritten, unlocking evolutionary potential dormant since their species' ancient past. Lucas felt their own body changing further. Neural connections expanding, consciousness merging gradually with both Xorathi and the distant collective. The pain was excruciating, but the expansion of awareness it brought was worth the cost. How long? Xorathi asked, experiencing own transformation as the neural bridge reshaped its consciousness. Before we reach the collective. Years, Lucas answered. Before the changes manifest in your people. Generations. Evolution takes time. Even guided evolution, your people. What will they become without you? Lucas smiled. Something magnificent. Something neither of us can imagine. They gazed back at the blue, green world receding behind them. The Lazarus Protocol was just the beginning. Human potential was never about defeating the Xorathi. It was about transcending humanity itself. As Earth disappeared from view, Lucas's consciousness expanded further, touching into past light years, sensing other evolved species, other transformations occurring throughout the galaxy. The collective showed them glimpses of what awaited a network of evolved consciousnesses spanning the stars. Each species contributed unique perspectives and abilities to a greater whole. Not a hive mind erasing individuality, but a communion enhancing it. Not conquest, but synthesis. Not extinction, but transcendence. On Earth, Admiral Jones received Lucas's final transmission as the atmosphere continued its restoration. The purple haze receded worldwide, leaving blue skies in its wake. The transformed huge from their bunkers into a changed world. Not just environmentally, but evolutionarily. "They're gone," she announced to the gathered survivors. "Both the Xorathi ship and..." She hesitated. Lucas." Dr. Ray studied the data from Lucas's transmission. The Xorathi threat is neutralized, but Lucas's final neural patterns are strange. Almost as if they were becoming something else. Major Danvers joined them, her Yvonne stabilizing into something no longer fully human but magnificent in its potential. Lucas always saw further than the rest of us. What did they discover up there? Jones looked skyward, her enhanced vision perceiving patterns in the stars that her original human eyes never could. "I don't know. But I suspect we'll find out eventually." She activated the communication network, linking all evolved humans worldwide. "The invasion is over, the recovery begins today, but our evolution, our journey, is just beginning." Across Earth, transformed humans turned their awakened potential toward rebuilding. Some developed abilities to accelerate plant growth in devastated regions. Others evolved to neutralize atmospheric toxins. Still others found their minds capable of previously impossible feats of creation and invention. Not all changes were beneficial. Not all evolved humans retained their original personalities or priorities. A new chapter in human history had begun, with all the complexity and challenge that entailed. But in quiet moments, were the evolved connected through their neural network, some sensed something at the very edge of perception. A presence watching, guiding, waiting. And occasionally, in dreams shared across continents, they glimpsed a familiar consciousness moving among the stars, no longer entirely human but carrying humanity's essence outward into the cosmos. Evolution, once awakened, could not be contained, and humanity's hidden potential had only just begun to unfold.